We're all surrounded by people who just know things. Practical, hands-on stuff. But what happens when that wisdom just goes quiet? That's what we're digging into. We're going to look at how to bring that lived experience back to life, all through a story from a small town in Montana.
Yeah, this quote, it just hits the nail on the head, right? When people with real experience stop talking, it's not just a shame for them, it's a loss for all of us. Because what happens? The public conversation gets, it gets thinner, it gets louder, and it definitely gets less wise. We're left with just a few shouting voices, and all that rich, real-world knowledge just fades away.
So let's dive right into this idea. Wisdom gone quiet. What does that actually mean? We're going to break down what happens when really capable, skilled people just stop participating. And, what that means for the rest of us. Okay, so here's the thing. It's not that people suddenly forgot how to do things or lost their ability to think. The capacity is still there. The ingenuity is still there. What's actually breaking are the pathways. The ways for all that know-how to actually get out, to circulate, to be seen and shared. All right, that's the big idea. But to really get it, we need to make it real. Let's zoom in, way in, to a specific place. We're headed to Hot Springs, Montana, to see what this looks like on the ground in a real community. 59845. That's not just a zip code. It's a place, and you can think of it as a stand-in for so many rural communities. Places that are absolutely full of practical smarts, but maybe don't have a ton of official support. What's happening here? Well, it's really a story that's playing out in small towns all over the country.
So who are we even talking about? Who are these wisdom holders? Well, you've got farmers and ranchers who are basically re-engineering entire systems on the fly. You've got women who are absolute masters of juggling complexity, often behind the scenes. You've got elders carrying decades of lived experience, and you even have tech-trained folks who move there for a more humane pace of life. The point is, the intelligence is already baked right into the community.
So if all that wisdom is there, what's the problem? What's missing? It's the infrastructure. It's the simple stuff, really, like easy ways to share what you know, safe, supportive places to just think things through, and maybe most importantly, gentle on-ramps to get comfortable with modern tools without feeling stupid.
And that right there, that brings us to the absolute heart of the solution. It's this idea, confidence before participation. The biggest hurdle isn't that people don't have the skills, it's that they don't have the confidence. It's a confidence gap, not a skills gap.
This quote just says it all. So many people aren't anti-technology. What they're against is being made to feel incompetent. Nobody wants to feel foolish or rushed or judged, right? It's a totally human reaction, and if we want people to engage, we have to start by respecting that.
Okay, so there's a path to get there, and it's a sequence. You can't just jump to the end. First, you need to build some basic competence. That competence leads to real earned confidence. And once you have that confidence, you find your voice again. Then, and only then, do you get participation. See how it builds? That participation lets knowledge flow, and eventually, that sparks a bigger sense of what's possible for the whole community.
So what does that actually look like? How do you build that confidence in the real world? Well, let's look at this approach called learning side by side. It's a really human-sized answer to a pretty huge problem.
Okay, I want you to just picture this for a second. Imagine a room, maybe at the local library. There's someone there with decades of experience under their belt, and they're sitting down with, say, a laptop. But here's the key. They are not alone. They're not being rushed, and there is absolutely no shaming involved. It's a space built on dignity.
And sitting right next to them is a younger person. But, and this is so important, this is not a one-way street. It's not just the young person teaching the older person. It's a true exchange. The older person is bringing all that lived wisdom, all those stories. The younger person brings comfort with the tools. In that room, they are both the teacher and they are both the student.
And think about what the young person gets out of this. They're not just showing someone how to click a mouse. They're learning patience under pressure. They're learning real empathy across generations. They're figuring out how to teach without just taking over. I mean, these are incredible life skills. Skills you can't really get from a textbook. And for the older person, wow, the impact is huge. They're building real confidence. Their stories, their wisdom are getting saved in their own voice. Imagine the relief of finally crossing a threshold you were afraid of and getting this powerful affirmation that yes, what you lived through, what you learned, it matters. It really, really matters.
So all of this small story happening in a little town in Montana, it actually points to a much bigger question, a really urgent question for all of us, which is, Whose knowledge actually counts in our society?
And that really gets to the core philosophy here. This isn't about teaching people what to think. It's not about filling them up with new facts. It's about helping them remember that they already know things worth sharing. It's about restoring their own sense of agency and value.
So, in the end, we're left with these really big questions, aren't we? Who gets to shape the future? Whose knowledge do we decide is important? What kind of intelligence are we going to protect? Is it only the stuff that's fast and loud and scalable? Or are we going to save a place for that quieter, hands-on wisdom that's actually the glue holding our communities together?
And that's what this is all about. It comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. This work is here to restore a voice, not to overwrite it. It's about helping people find what they thought was lost, one conversation and one story at a time.